And welcome back. We are still in the same night as the previous two episodes. The bar is, however, closing, so people are being ushered out, tabs are being paid. Um, the cleaning staff is already going around and cleaning the leftover cups, the little appetizer plates, sweeping stuff up. Cheryl is cleaning up underneath one of the tables. She's got like her gloves on, and she is confusedly keeps pulling out random items like a bottle of perfume. Somebody lost a hairpiece. Obvious fake jewelry. She just looks a little annoyed tonight. Um, but I turn it over to you two. Uh, Taryn and Shinty are still outside, so
I think Joe's just sort of hanging back by the back door, waiting for Amanda to be done. Looking
Yeah,
outside every once in a while, seeing what's going on out there, seeing if anybody's getting into an interesting fight or something,
I'm gonna look at my coworkers as we're doing the cleaning and breakdown and everything, and say, hey, just a minute, and go and sort of settle up to Joe and say, hey, I'm not really supposed to do this, but if you want to hang out while we close, I mean that's okay. I can make sure like you're allowed if you want.
I was going to linger regardless, but the permission is nice.
Okay, yeah. Like
We have to meet with I didn't catch his name.
if he gave
Later?
if he gave it to me, I don't remember. But yeah, yeah, we can all hang out here and break down. Well, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna leave her and go talk to one of the other bartenders. Like, I don't really feel very well. Is it cool if I peace out? Like you can take the hours out of my tip pool. I've got some stuff that's going on, and I think I need to go. I'm sorry. I know it sucks. I'll cover for you guys another night.
you see it's Jake. He's got his little tray of glasses that are clinking. Yeah, I'm sure Cheryl and I got it. Everybody's already out. Uh, don't worry about it.
Thanks. I owe you one. I owe you one for sure. And
Hey, you can take the next holiday.
you know what? Done. What am I doing on Christmas anyway?
I was thinking like the next one, so I go out on a boat, get drunk, have fun, totally not fall in the lake. It's fine. He's walking back to the back.
Yeah, as long as it's a nighttime boat trip of death. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and I'll walk back to Joe and be like, well, like, got out of that. Shall we? And
Joe, while you're waiting, make me a wits and awareness roll.
Oh, jeez. That would be one, two, three successes.
It is very faint, but as Amanda is talking to her coworker, trying to get out of work, you think you heard the distant sound of echoing smack? Maybe something ran into something.
I was looking for a fight to watch. This might be interesting. Wait for Amanda, and then we're gonna follow the sound of the smack because I'm easily distracted.
I follow where Joe leads.
And as they are heading out into the back alley, we're gonna transfer over to our other two. Shinty, you just got smacketed by a Toreador.
And as I recall, looking at my character sheet here, it was enough to cause a superficial damage. So I'm going to go ahead and interpret that as it caused him to bite his lip pretty good as the slap came across his face and pierced the skin. A little bit of blood comes rolling out of his mouth, and he's just going to smile, lick the wound shut. That's very, very nice. You've got quite the hand on you. I like that. I like that a lot. You're going to be an interesting one. Just keep in mind what we were talking about, though. Like, I know it makes you uncomfortable, but like I said, keep in mind, I was just trying to illustrate a point to you. You can't be too sure in this world whether or not exactly what you're doing is of your own volition. And believe me, the blood is very good at convincing you that everything is of your own volition.
The little voice in my head, that thing,
Oh, not just your beast, but yes. That likes to claw under the surface all the time. And you gotta figure out a good way to keep it at bay. A lot of folks around here will tell you it's best to pretend that you're your food. That's a good way to keep it in your head that you're you. There's other ways.
So far.
Well, that's the trick.
It's got me a nice car, nice house, nice things.
Sure, that's wonderful in the short term. We're talking about eternity here, though. The grand forever, assuming you don't fuck up and, piss off any of those upper echelons. They get so prim and proper with themselves. So many rules.
There's always nicer things to get.
Oh, of course. And perspectives that might carry you a bit further than pining over what you aren't anymore. But...
And I'm sure you have perspective to offer me, right?
assuming you want it. Don't think that I'm trying to force any lessons on you.
No, you're just going to force me to sit down, right?
Again, once to illustrate a point you seem to be very familiar with. Seems to have touched a little bit of a nerve, have I?
I'm very familiar with men ordering me around to get what they want out of me, yes.
And yet, unfortunately, no one in this world, man, woman, or otherwise, has deigned to explain to you that there's ways that you can make sure these things don't happen, or certainly not so easily. But you wouldn't be interested in anything like that, of course. That would be a lesson too far. And he'll hop off his seat and kind of trot back over towards the entrance of the parking garage and the automated gate system just to peek back out towards the bar.
Joe and Amanda, as you are coming out and around, you do see Shinty standing in the direction, Joe, you feel like the smack may have came from?
That's unexpected, but probably called for.
He definitely seemed like the type who was asking for it. Although, maybe not the type who gets it often enough.
Might fix that.
I stay back where he left me, and I'm like growling and like grinding my foot into the cement. I know what you're doing.
Do you?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and activate Sense the Unseen again, because I know earlier I had spotted the Nosferatu lurking about, so just getting an idea of what's around. So very intently starts looking around while kind of half listening to Taryn.
Go ahead and roll some things.
I can do that if I must.
You must. Always. Hehehe.
I do
It's fine.
have some hunger. Even though I am evil, I don't get to deplete my hunger quite as easily as some.
No, not this time around.
That is going to be 3 successes. And I'm good on not blowing willpower right now. It's not super urgent, so.
As you're looking around with Sense the Unseen, you don't see the Nosferatu anymore. They have apparently moved on. There is some the lights look a little weird. You see what you may think is a ghost down towards one of the buildings. It disappears rather quickly. It's fine. It's fine. It's not like downtown's haunted or anything. You do see that weirdly enough, you don't see any more Nosferatu or anyone that's obfuscated.
Okay. Because, yeah, to be fair, it's not just the Nos that can do that, so. All right. Well, I'll obviously probably clock, I would assume, Amanda and Joe coming out of the bar. And I'll just give a casual smirk to them and then traipse back into the actual parking garage and back towards Taryn. It's like,
in my experience, funneling strange men into dark spaces hasn't generally worked out well for me. But I'm willing to give it a 4th shot.
Well, there's 2, 3 of us, and we're us. Seems less risky than it would have been. I mean, I guess for me, a couple months ago. What's he gonna do?
That's fair. I would say after you, but I think at this point it might be best to be after me.
I will follow your lead.
Joe's gonna go ahead and follow into the parking garage.
I follow Joe. Follow where this goes.
just before they get in there, I'll kind of pace around Taryn real quick and just say, well, I think company's going to be joining us. And then just kind of look back towards the entrance past Taryn.
And you do see, if Taryn, when you look down towards them, you do see Joe and Amanda walking in.
There's a much more welcome sight.
Oh,
As soon as she gets close enough, Joe's gonna pull her phone out of her pocket again and take a picture because she promised that she would. Not flash, no flash, but the night camera is on.
Go ahead and pick me dexterity and stealth. Now, who are you taking a photo of?
Cindy.
Shinty, make me a wits and awareness. See if you notice it.
But that was one whole success, but she's also not trying to be sneaky about it.
Oh, okay.
It was 3 on my end, if you missed it.
You do notice that she took a photo of you.
Oh, make sure you catch my good side.
Do you have one?
Of course.
You might turn a little, see if I can find it.
He'll do a casual little catwalk twirl.
Amanda is
No.
going to roll her eyes and take the cue from Taryn and Joe, and also whip out her phone and take a picture.
Yeah, it
Everyone
looks the
loves
same
it.
from all sides to me.
You're right. Fantastic. But that's not really why any of y'all are here, is it?
No, I don't think any of us know why we're here.
Let's just say you all stand out a bit like a sore thumb. I can tell.
Never tried to blend in.
Joe immediately starts looking down at all her tattoos and goes, "What? Why didn't anyone tell me?"
Oh, not that. Not that. You stick out in other ways. And I'm going to go ahead and just to see if I can glean a little bit of interesting information off of these individuals, I'm going to go ahead and use Sense the Beast.
Oh. Yes, go ahead. For everybody else, let's see here, because I know I have it. Where's my little cheat sheet? Sense the Beast. Shinty, you'll be making Resolve and Animalism. Everybody else, Composure and Subterfuge.
Ooh. Belongs to the floor now. It's fine.
It's fine.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it was what in subterfuge?
Composure.
I don't suppose my seduction specialization in subterfuge would apply.
No, sadly.
No.
Sadly, no.
What about my impeccable lies?
I would say that would apply.
Okay, so that gets me an extra dice.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how that works? Okay, cool. And then because does this count as a social role that I get an extra one for being pretty?
Oh dear God, that's
Yes.
awful.
Embrace the pretty, everyone. Just embrace the pretty.
I get 2 successes.
Is there anyone in this group that's not pretty?
I don't think so. We have a very
we're
attractive.
vampires. Vampires are pretty.
What's the point of being a vampire if you're not going to be pretty?
Exactly.
Exactly.
No, hey, Nosferatu are cool though. All right, let's be real here.
They're pretty in their own way.
They have their own pretty.
Yeah, no. No, is this the one you're rolling as your hunger? Yeah, no, that's bad. But you know what? I also did that. I also have a 1 on my hunger die. So you and I are the same, where I've got 2 successes and a critical failure on my hunger die. But if we have enough successes, then that 1 won't matter.
Yeah, I have 4 successes and a critical fail on my hunger die.
Yeah, you're fine.
So 4, 2,
And depending on what Ari says, but
5.
5. So you have 2 for 2 for Amanda, 4 for Taryn, and then 5 for Joe.
I have 6 with a crit.
You do get to find things out.
I believe a critical win's even going to tell me their clans.
Yes. For a win, you're able to sense the level of hostility towards you and determine whether the target has a supernatural beast. A critical win allows you to determine the type of creature and their hunger.
So let's go one at a time. Amanda, what is your level of hostility towards Sinti? Or is it just hostility in general?
It just says hostility towards you.
Okay.
Amanda is wary but not hostile, and currently hunger is 1. Yeah, wary but not hostile.
Okay. And kindred, obviously.
Yep.
How about you, Joe?
Joe is far more amused than any other emotion right now, and one hunger.
And Taryn?
One hunger. Probably the most hostile out of the group.
And the way he does his sense of the beast is he just kind of breathes in deeply as everyone kind of gets together.
Ew.
Do you get an
Ah.
additional whiff of like violets and something kind of mossy off Joe?
Very interesting. Such young whippersnappers. Well, maybe not you. You kind of see it in your eyes. But you still seem lost. That last comment being directed at Joe.
I'm interested to know what leads you to believe that.
You stand out a bit too much.
That's the intention.
Not the just general physical appearance. Again, like, no, we live in contemporary times at this point. I clock each of you as kindred the second I walked in that bar. Which means nobody's doing a great job of teaching you. And if that's the case, this world we live in is not gonna be kind to any of you.
And I'm sure out of the goodness of your heart, you're going to offer to be our teacher, right?
I wouldn't really consider it the goodness of my heart.
Well, at least you're honest about one thing.
Believe me, well-educated kindred are much more useful in this world than a bunch of bumbling fools. That's what the elders want. That's what the tower wants. The movement's a little bit better. Still,
You're going to have to slow it down and explain things as you're going for the little one here.
yes.
What's a kindred? You're supposed to have teachers? What the hell is a tower?
Well, let's take it one at a time then, shall we? You're a kindred. I'm a kindred. These two here are kindred. Our eavesdropper is a kindred.
Wait,
However,
eavesdropper?
oh, yeah, you should just get used to that. There's eyes and ears everywhere.
Just assume that you're always being listened to. There are some of our kind who don't need to be seen.
Now, as for the rest of that, teachers depends upon who decided to make you, what their affiliations are, what they're expected, what's expected of them. It varies wildly, I've found in my time, as short as it may be. That very often you get degrees and levels of things. Some kindred get left with barely a clue, snatched up by a sire and dropped on the side of the road with nary a single piece of information granted to them. Others spend years under their prospective sires, taking on their tutelage, the goal being to, get them to a point where they fit in with this hidden world that we all live in that's right under all these people's noses. As for the tower, that's one of the names used for one of the, let's call them factions of our kind. You see, we don't all philosophically get along. People have different ideas about what eternity should be. It's much like the cattle that we come from originally and how they can't cooperate or coordinate on anything. They squabble in their petty little tribes, and unfortunately so do our kind. And we have additional distinctions on top of everything else. Some of us learn to let go of the chaff from that life, others don't, and they just pile more on. Clan, sect, all of that. Does that answer your questions?
I think it just left me with more.
It usually does.
Darling.
It usually does. That's how this tends to go. Every answer you uncover just poses another question. Now, one could argue that's one of the benefits of being us, is you have, again, if you don't mess anything up, all of eternity to dig up these answers. And there are individuals around that I'm sure you've extrapolated, at least at this point, that if you can live forever, certainly there are individuals out there who have already been living a very, very, very long time. So you might even be able to ask someone who may have known whether or not Jesus Christ was an actual individual and find out little pieces of the puzzle that we're all scraping along trying to figure out what all this means and why we're here and what purpose do we have. None of that really changes now that you're a walking corpse.
I'm gonna look to Taryn and Joe and be like, is this what it is? Like, is this dude right?
Much.
More or less.
I don't need a whole lot of answers. Like I'm fine doing this. Like I have questions and I have things that I want. I want to find out who did this to me and figure out how to just stop. Just stop. Is that
Well,
is
what
that
do you
something
mean by
you can give
stop?
me? I just want to stop moving. Stop running. Sleep in the same corner of
Ah,
a night.
I get it. I know what you are now. You're gonna find life, or death, I suppose, a bit interesting. So you know how I mentioned clans and all of that, and that's a form of lineage that you get when you come into this world. There's different types of our kind, you might say. It's kind of like how ethnicity works for humans, but not quite the same. Certain traits that you'll certainly pick up, things that can kind of distinguish you as a member of your clan. Now you belong to a dead clan, though not quite as dead as many like to think. And it all happened very recently. You may even consider yourself lucky you were made after the fact. I hear it drove many of your kind mad.
That's the rumor, isn't it?
One of many.
What do you know about it? I'm looking at Joe specifically.
I was there when it happened.
What happened?
When I don't want to get too much into the weeds with it, but suffice to say, one of the ancients decided to crawl out of his little grave and just fucking kill everyone.
What the hell is an ancient? And I thought we couldn't die, and now we have graves?
The beginning, the ones that started it all, or at least very closely related to them.
If it helps, think of it like a pyramid scheme.
Well, very much like that.
There's someone at the top who's the most powerful. And then each person below them has a little less power. The person at the top always has the most. And the more people below them, the better. The people
Until one of them goes off and decides that they want to kill all of the individuals in their line for whatever fucking reason.
And
But it's going to happen to everyone eventually.
all right,
Is what it is.
I don't know what this is, and I don't know how any of this works, but I've been working in food service for too long, but why, assuming that there's more people at the bottom, why don't they just overthrow the people at the top? Unionize or whatever.
Cindy's going to look over at Taryn. Do you think this one needs a lesson too?
What kind of lesson do you want to give her? Because I don't think she wants what you're offering.
Oh, the same lesson I gave you. A sense of understanding as to why things might not be that easy.
In the course of this conversation, Joe is going to step between Cindy and Amanda and turn on Dawn.
Hey, I was thinking the same thing.
And now things are interesting. Let's see here. So where is my little cheat sheet for all of these things? Because it's a lot going on.
I
Are
I
you
need the resist roll.
intimidating him?
Yes.
Roll. I will let you pick your charisma or your manipulation and your intimidation, and you get to add your presence dice to your intimidation roll. Anyone who wishes to act against you must roll a resolve and composure versus a difficulty of 2.
How many am I rolling for presents?
However many dots and presence you have. If you are BP2, you get to add a dice.
There we go. Woo! I lost a dice.
It's fine. It's fine. The floor dice has escaped.
I lost one today too.
That's 6 successes for me.
7 with a messy critical.
Oh. Joe, you do step in front of Amanda. You click on the intense sphere of daunt. Amanda, you're standing behind her and you can feel this sense of fear creep into you. Taryn, you feel it too. Like, you're not too far off. Taryn, I would say you know what this ability is.
Yeah, I have it too.
Yeah, you know what it is. Amanda, this is a feeling you haven't felt before, so it's a little unnerving for you. Shinty, the power of intimidation washes over you. And you can feel it creeping into your bones and in your skin. And you kind of just roll it off. Your beast growling a bit.
That's a That's a lovely little trick there. I'm sure it runs
Not
off
a trick.
all the uppity frat boys.
Oh no, we don't run those off.
Hmm.
We save
Someone
them for
has a
later.
type. I like that. We all
You'd
pick up our
know?
preferences.
Now, if you're trying to get us on your side, you're not necessarily going about it the right way. You might need to learn a thing or two about women.
Who said I want you on my side?
Begs the question, what do you want then?
I want a more educated population among the local kindred.
Oh, I'm not local, so that doesn't really apply.
Hmm. Yet you've been here for a little bit.
Extenuating circumstances.
Indeed. I would have
Had a bit of a death in the family.
Ah, that's what's holding you over. Very good. Okay. I admit, I figured you would have moved on by now. I've heard a little bit about you.
I'm sure you have. We've got flyers everywhere.
No, again, you think I care about that silly facade you all put on? I mean, I heard about you.
Well, if you've heard about me, then you'd heard that the phrase silly facade is probably not the one you want to use.
Well, I view all of this that y'all are engaged in to be, at best, a waste of time and a distraction, which, hey, if it trips your trigger, that's great. You've got an eternity ahead of you. Sometimes we need a distraction. But doing anything actually worthwhile in this life at this point, now that you've been gifted the ability to do so, it doesn't involve the peons that are nothing more than dinner for you.
I would beg to differ, but I suppose that's really just a difference in philosophies.
Indeed. Again, there's many varying philosophies among our kind. Most of them in place to keep individuals like yourself on that nice bottom rung you were talking about, keep you in line, keep you fearful, keep you complacent,
And what is
keep you in lockstep.
I think that's actually the good question here. You seem to know so much about us, and yet we know so little about you.
Oh, I had a chance to introduce myself to your friend. I guess I didn't have a chance to introduce myself to all of you. The name's Eric of Clan Gangrel.
Really? Because you told me that you were Donovan of Clan Malkavian.
Did I now?
You did.
Consider that lesson number 2.
So who are you really?
No one, to be perfectly honest, at least, especially in this domain, as they like to call the city.
I didn't ask who you were to the domain. Who are you? What is your name? What is your clan?
Why would I tell you my clan? You haven't told me yours.
Yes, I did.
Oh, but we have.
Well, you two have. Her mostly on accident. You seemed a little more willing to be forthcoming with it.
I don't see how it matters one way or another.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be
No, I
very
wouldn't.
surprised.
I'm fairly well educated on the clan rivalries and whatnot, and it all seems absolutely fucking stupid.
Oh, not rivalries. There are horrible things that our kind can do, and the more they know about you, the easier it is.
No, they're
So,
petty little rivalries, and they don't amount to anything.
oh, I'm not talking about rivalries. I'm talking about gifts that we've been given and things we can do, like that little parlor trick you tried on me. There's other kinds of trickery. Again, not always the best situation to put everything out there. Of course, again, some of the factions have different views on that. Most of them have agents who are very capable of these things. So, of course, they want that information out on the table. No,
I'm afraid to tell you that you're a very poor salesman.
because I'm not selling anything.
Then I don't know what we're here for.
You have an option. You all seem like the kinds of people who could use information. Information that might keep you alive more nights than not. And like I said, an educated population is mostly what I seek.
Then give us information. You've given Amanda information, which is lovely. Don't get me wrong. You know, the baby kindred always need information.
What information might you be interested in?
I don't know, whatever you're selling.
Again,
You seem
I'm
so
not
sure
selling
that I need
anything.
information. You seem so sure that Joe needs information.
Yes.
So what information do we need so badly that only you can provide it?
Oh, I'm not the only one that can provide it. There's many kindred that could. Clearly, they've chosen not to.
Okay, so you are the one who can provide it then. What is it? Why are you here? Why did you seek us out?
Again, as I've already answered, you're all a bit naive. And that's not a bad thing. It's not even really your fault. If anything, blame should fall on the ones that created you.
I have lots to blame him for.
Fair. Many of us do. It's very hard to actually do anything about it.
Oh, I'm going to do something.
That would be very impressive. I'd love to see it happen. Some manage it. Some even manage it on their own. Most don't. I think probably of the group standing here, the one most disposed to being able to do something, it's this one. And he'll tip his head over to Amanda.
If Joe still has Daunt on, I definitely like sort of still like cowering away from her, and
It served its purpose. She's probably let it fade.
okay. Because if I'm all right, then I'm probably.
To be fair, I did say there was an eavesdropper. If Joe would keep it up, knowing that there's other eyes on them. Just for your reference.
I don't think she really cares.
Okay. Wasn't sure.
Listen, I'm not that smart, okay? I'm good at a couple of things. I can mix a drink. I can lift a keg. Whatever thing y'all are all talking about, I don't know. I just want to figure out who did this to me and if they can fix it.
Oh, there's no fixing it.
No.
You are this now. You can figure out how to cope with it and how to live with it. Or, if it's too much, you can go watch the sunrise one last time.
I don't want that. I've got a life. I've got a family. I have a job. I have people that I care about. I mean, I do care about them.
Insofar as you can.
No, I cared about them before, and I care about them now. I do. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I need to fix it. And all I hear is more problems and no solutions and a whole lot of questions and no answers except these vague things and a whole lot of the vocabulary that I just don't get. And so I need like the jargon to stop and some sort of like actual real definitions here. Like I can't, I don't get it. What do you want? What do you want from me?
I want you to understand the world that you live in. And I want you able to actually make educated choices. Because unfortunately, that's really what life is going to be about for you, all of you now. Myself included. It never changes. That's what we do for eternity. We make choices. There will be a lot of them put in front of you. Many of them very, very critical as to how your life will play out. And just seems like you're all being left in the dark to wander aimlessly until you stumble into that first wrong situation, don't know how to make the choice, and you cease being. In my opinion, I would find that unfortunate. I'll look over at Taryn, since she looked like she was ready to say something.
I think stumbling through the dark and making poor decisions is how I got here in the first place.
And it's a pretty big shit show. And that one wasn't even a choice for you to make. And that's what I mean by that past life, everything that you were, and all those things that you held dear. None of that really matters anymore. You weren't making choices then. You weren't a part of the game. You were pawns in it. And to be fair, most out there, if they have their way, would see to it that you remain that. You just remain a slightly more powerful pawn. Maybe upgraded to a rook. Or, I'm sorry, a knight or a bishop, but never really making it up to anything meaningful. Just a little bit more powerful. You're not actually the player of the game, you're just a piece on the board, and that's how they want it. So yes, it's, again, it's hard to answer your question about what I'm selling when I'm not selling anything. At least not yet. See, I'm a little more picky than many of the others out here. Want, like I said, educated kindred. Those who can actually make a worthwhile choice when the time comes, because so many of our kind are caught up in completely frivolous activities. Worried again more about the subjugation of those below them than any real problems we might be facing, because I would at least assume all of you have kept extrapolating. Maybe not so much you, and he'll point over to Amanda. You're still a little young to have had the time to really start iterating on what all of this might mean and what all this world might have within it. But the fact of the matter is, you all spent however many years individually running around in this world, maybe with inclinations that maybe there might be something more going on, but never really being able to put your finger on the pulse. Then one day, you woke up, and by the time night fell, everything kind of changed for you. Suddenly, you were confronted with the fact that vampires are real. Now I'm one of them. A lot of that shit that I've heard in Hollywood and romance novels, it's a bunch of bullshit. Maybe there's other shit out there. Maybe eternal creatures, once they've lived long enough, start having some very strange agendas indeed. In particular, creatures that, he'll look over at Terran, as we experimented with, have all sorts of tools at their disposal to make that subjugation thick just a little bit better than it ever did when you were running around in the daylight. What they don't want you to know is it doesn't have to be that way. And every last one of us will be forced to make choices as we go. One of those choices is to change it. To not let the horrible shit that is going to happen otherwise happen. To not stay under the boots of those sitting on their lovely golden thrones at the top of their elite little towers. And even then, there's choices to make on how do you think you can effectively do that? So for you, and again, he'll look back to Amanda, one of the things you should know about this world is, as I mentioned, there's a number of factions amongst our kind. All kind of vying for control, all with their own philosophies. The one you'll probably hear about the most around these parts is the Camarilla. Or Camarilla. People pronounce it differently. I'm pretty sure it's derived from French, so I think it's that first one is where it probably originated and is a little bit closer to, but you know this country. We put our own spin on everything. You can't say it like it was originally said. They have a pretty good foothold here. Their rules are kind of law. Now, there's others as well, such as the movement, as they call themselves these days. Just a few short years ago, they were simply called anarchs, and it was this whole convoluted thing where most elders just viewed anyone young as an anarch, and that, they'll stop rebelling against the system once they understand the system and why it's so important. There's the Ashira. They don't have the strongest foothold over here in North America. Head back to the Middle East and parts of Asia, you'll find that they have a good foothold there. And there's the Sabbat. Most people will tell you horror stories about them. Treat them like the proverbial boogeyman in the shadows. A lot of people don't really know too much about them. They used to be a bit more of a presence in this country and down into Central and South America a bit. A few footholds back over in the old world in Europe. Recently, they've kind of seemingly decided to give all of that up. This city had a lot of run-ins with them being located where it is. See, back a few years ago, their stronghold was down in Mexico. But they made a concentrated effort to come up here for most of the 90s into the early aughts. Managed to gain some turf, too. Ran anarchs and the Camarilla out of their cities. Took control of them. Then, just one day, seemingly out of nowhere, started giving them up. Abandoning them. Odds are, in time, you're going to have to throw your lot in with one of these groups. Maybe not forever. But, again, you might choose differently. There are certainly those among our kind who, if you get ancient enough and powerful enough over time, you could reasonably possibly stand on your own. Get to a point where most individual kindred themselves wouldn't really be able to do anything about you doing what you want. It takes a bit. Most aren't ever going to achieve that. I've heard rumor that there might be one or two lurking around this area. Some really powerful kindred. But they also have their own designs when you start talking about the old school term for them is the autarchus. That's what the really old kindred like to call them. A lot of people nowadays just call them independents. In fact, and he points between both Joe and Amanda, your lineage used to be among them. As a whole clan. It's not the first time that that's ever happened, and it's much easier that way when you get the numbers to kind of back you up and don't have to try to do it on your own. Of course, your situations have, as your friend pointed out, pointing at Joe, it's drastically changed in the past 10, getting on 20 years now at this point, if my memory serves me correctly.
Something like that.
I will say I'm impressed to see two of you in the same city. And I've heard rumors that there might be a couple others of you dotted around here. I don't know what it is about Dallas that seems to have attracted you all. As you mentioned yourself, and he'll look over at Amanda, you're kind of in this situation where wandering is just ingrained into you. And he'll look back to Joe. That's why, even though it's a facade, your shtick is a good one.
It's neither a facade nor a shtick. But you can keep saying so if you like.
You might come to view it differently in enough years. Most of our kind do. You see, it's hard to look at your food as true companions or friends or family. You give it enough time and watch the ones that you really care about right now die. Because they will die.
But they don't have to, though, right? Like, why? If if somebody made me like this, then why? Somebody made all of you like this, like what we are. Why can't we save the people we care about?
To what end?
I would pose a better question than that. Why would we inflict this on anyone we loved?
Or better yet, let's extrapolate that. Something you need to start doing a lot more now that you have eternity. What if everyone decided to do that? How long do you think before the only way for us to eat would be to cannibalize each other? Remember, you're a parasite now.
I'm not a parasite, okay? Like,
I'm certain you don't view yourself like that. By the very definition.
I hate to agree with him on literally anything.
I mean, personally, I prefer the term cleaning crew, but, whatever works for you.
Sure, you can fluff it however you want.
I mean, we it's just, people, we have a little fun, and, I don't feel so on edge, and I calm down a little, and it's fine. There's nothing.
Wait until your best friend insults you. Just as a friendly jest, one night, and that beast inside of you decides that you need to rip their throat out. And then you come back to the consequences. Standing over their body, blood dripping down you, their corpse on the floor, by your hands. You are a parasite. You are here to feed upon them. You are here to consume them. That is what we do. It isn't pretty. It isn't an easy thing to get accustomed to by any stretch of the imagination. We all struggle with it. How long we struggle with it varies from individual to individual. But it is what we are. And given enough time, without the proper direction, eventually that might be all you become. We have a term for that too. Turning into a wight. Nothing more than the beast. Every last ounce of your personal reasoning gone. Just consuming, destroying, and acting out of terror from the few things that can still harm you. That is very easily what many will become, given enough time. And again, not given direction. And that's the grand flaw in most of this. But I'm rambling. As I recall, you fine folks didn't feel like you needed any information from me. That what I was offering up was not useful. And he'll slowly start circling off around them, and walking his way back to the entrance of the parking garage. Of course, if you change your mind, I'll be around. This city entertains me for the time being, shall we say. And he'll go ahead and walk out of the parking garage.
Karen watches him go, just seething.
Joe's been through most of the info dump, as it were. She's got a little silver Zippo and has just been like, click, flick, shut, click, flick, shut.
Yeah, as Cynthia walks away, I'm just gonna look to Taryn and Joe and be like, he was full of shit, right? Like, what was he? Was he full of shit?
I mean, he was an asshole. And arrogant as all hell. But he didn't technically lie.
No, for the most part, there were some things that under other circumstances I might have commented upon, but on the whole, it is what it is.
It's not pretty what we are. It's just finding a way to make the most of it.
Was he right about there not being a way back?
Oh, there's no way back.
No.
This is it.
There are ways to make the situation better, but they're difficult and very rarely sought after. Other than that, there's nothing.
What you see is what you get.
Can you make it better? Can he make it better? Does
No, no, not that one.
well, what about you two? Can you make it better?
And what would making it better be?
Never really been part of my purview.
I just want to feel at home somewhere again.
Used to be like that. We didn't always used to be this particular sort of way. Now, mind you, this isn't something that afflicts all of us. This is just you and I. Didn't always used to be this way, though.
What was it like before?
Better. Easier.
What is
More fun, honestly. This is nothing I miss quite as much as running a really good grift. Like something that really takes you years to build. There's a certain satisfaction in it.
You know, I kind of get that. Is it like the same feeling that you get when you subtly convince a guy to give you a really good tip, even though you have been watering down his drinks all night?
Fairly close to it, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I get that. That's relatable.
And now it's just, where the fuck are we going to park the van tonight? It's annoying.
Not get towed in the morning?
Time consuming.
Obnoxious.
Suppose it could be worse, though. I don't know how, but I suppose it could be.
At least that voice in the back of your head isn't yelling at you that you have to move. It's quiet for a little bit before it sunsets, I guess, or sunrises, I guess.
That's true. There are a few moments of peace here and there.
And but what about you, Taryn? Like what's it like for you? Is it like this for you too?
The moving thing? No. No, I have a house, apartment, car. I have a life.
Point to order. I have a house too, and if the two of you would rather not be standing around in a fucking garage, maybe we could walk in that direction.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. You're willing.
I'm gonna lead the way back to the van.
As you get out of the parking garage and head back towards the van, where did Shinty go off to? How far down did he walk?
Oh, he flat out left.
Oh, okay.
He's probably heading back to where the other compatriots of his that he accidentally stumbled onto are located.
You will be having a walk unless you're hopping public transportation.
Oh, no. He's totally fine with walking unless it's getting too close to sunrise at this point. They've been chatting in the car park for a bit.
It's about 3, 4 a.m.
Okay.
Getting close.
I don't live in Dallas. Is that enough time for me to get to where I'm going?
You might need to hop the dart, or
Okay.
the bus, or steal a car. Like, I'll give you options. Or you could just make me another wits and awareness roll.
I mean, I could do that too. I think his plan would be to go ahead and probably just go ahead and jump on the public transit.
Mm-hmm.
Pay with the money he steals from people he kills. 3 successes.
3 successes. As you're walking down the street heading towards the bus stop, a car pulls up alongside you and rolls the window down.
Take a look, obviously.
It is a man with short dark hair, dressed nicely in a suit. You have came across him before. He is not a friend, but not an enemy.
What are you up to?
I have.
And he'll keep walking so that he's going to force them to drive slowly along to have a conversation.
You should just get in the car before the sun gets you.
Sure, why not? He'll walk over and pop the door open and hop in.
Where am I taking you?
He'll give him the address of the house.
And as he pulls away, you do see he drives on the other side of the street from where the girls or the ladies are getting into Joe's van. So did it hurt when the Toreador slapped you? And that's where we're going to end tonight's episode.